Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. I know I'm just like a couple minutes early here, so I'm gonna share this while I am getting ready. But good morning. I'm Brandon Eichhorn. I'm the owner of Last Man Standing. Just if you would please share this video, even if you're watching the replay. Alright, now showing we're live. Okay, so get some live. There we go. Let's see. Alright, cool. I can see myself, so I'm watching me. Okay, let me share. It's a little cool this morning, isn't it? It looked like it was actually down to below freezing. So crazy. It was like, I don't know, 70s yesterday, something like that. I don't know. It was pretty crazy. Hey, Angie. I see you're watching. Hello. I know you're at work and you can't really join us here. So, sorry about that, but glad that you are joining us. I am sharing now. Almost done with that. Sharing my timeline. Yeah, right. It's Kansas. I was joking around before and saying, it's, oh, you're not working right now. Oh, okay. Well, cool, I guess. I'm sorry, but not sorry, so enjoy your time off. I know how busy you are. So, you're as busy as I am. So, glad to see you on here, brother. Okay, Jesse. Alright, we got some people in. Alright, so, thank you for that. So, let's kind of get started here. I still have the 3 guns that I had last night on the live on Squirrely's page. If you haven't seen that yet, go over to Squirrely's page. By the way, don't forget to like this page too. Like Last Man Standing, because I see we have like over 1,200 people that like Squirrely's and like 800 or so that like Last Man Standing. So if you haven't, even if you're watching the replay, like our page, and then thank you for that. And then thank you for posting in those groups, Angie. I really appreciate it. I also, I've put a link to our website there, the lmsdefensetraining.com. You can go on there. I'm going to start putting YouTube videos on, and may actually include this one in the YouTube. May try to copy this one over to the YouTube, just so that way we have some live fire drills on there. I'm sorry, some dry practice drills on there. My bad. We're not doing live fire, we're doing dry fire. So that's why I call it dry practice, just so I don't get it confused, or nobody else gets it confused. So dry practice is what we're going to be doing today, but I do still have these 3 here. They are up for grabs. Again, I'm not selling anything. I'm just going to very quickly overview these. You can go and watch the video for the full deal, but I have a Mossberg. This is the MC2C, and it's $417.59. It is available to first person, first come, first serve on that 9mm, 15+1. Does have a flat trigger. We're going to go over that here in a little bit, and everything. Really like this gun, and there is, I've zeroed out the shipping for any of that. I'm just taking shipping. So $417.59. It does come with a lifetime guaranteed. All these come with a lifetime guaranteed free replacement and repair. So anything ever goes wrong with any any of my guns from my main distributor, I replace them for you for free and swap you out with a brand new one in 2 business days. So, next is the M&P 380 Shield EZ, the M2.0, so this is the newer version of it. Again, 380, 388.96, okay? And so that one is available. You want any of these? Again, I'm not selling. Just telling you what I got them for at the shop. They are available. I do take cards. These are all cash prices and stuff. And then the last one is the M&P 15 Sport 2, AR-15, 223 and 5.56, 691.58. And to sweeten the deal, I'm throwing in 1 box of ammo for this gun. I know it's not a full mag, but it's 20 rounds. And then it does have the flip-up sights, which I may or may not go over today. So anyway, just having that there, wanted to kind of throw those out. They are available. I was able to get these in. So kind of a rarity right now that any guns are coming in. So let's get on to the dry practice drills. So obviously, and now that we have some more people in here, please share this video if you haven't yet. I do appreciate that. Trying to get our name out. Don't forget to like the page. Dry practice drills. First and foremost is safety. So the 4 safety rules. Let me see. I should have one of those deals in here. Well, I got the ones that are... Yeah, and that one didn't turn out very well. I thought I had one. Oh well. Anyway. I usually give these out. My red quit working on my printer when I printed this out, but see if I can bend this over for you here. So, 4 rules of safety. Yeah, the yellow is really hard to see, especially in this light. But always treat all guns as if they are loaded. Okay? I'm going to go over the 4 safety rules very quickly. Always treat guns as if it's loaded. Number 2. What is number 2? Number 2 is never aim at anything that you are not willing to destroy. Okay? Number 3. Keep your finger off the trigger and outside the trigger guard until you are ready to shoot. And then number 4, which is probably the most ignored rule that I see, is be sure of your target and what is beyond it. So, thank you guys for joining. I see we got a bunch of us in here. That's cool. Thanks for joining us. So, during this quarantine, I hope everybody's safe and well, healthy. Stay home. I stay home as much as possible, as humanly possible. The way I teach this, especially to kids, if you have children in your home or whatever, you really need to teach your kids. The way I teach kids is, if you've ever been out, well, and everybody, I teach everybody the same way. So, we're going to treat every gun as if it's loaded. Let's take the flag out of here. This is the Taurus G3. Okay, so, assuming you just came up on the gun, is it loaded? Can't tell. So, we're going to treat every gun as if it's loaded. Okay? So, whether we come up to it or not. By the way, at the range, whenever, keep it locked back. This way, everybody can see that it is, safe, it's locked open, it's not going to fire. No matter how bad you try, how much you try, that is not going to go off when you try to pull the trigger. So, and everybody can see that it's empty. It is locked back. That's safer anyway. So, back to the way I teach everybody. You come upon a gun, what do we do when we go to the range? We grab a gun, we load our gun. So, uh, before we step up to the line or whatever, or get up on the line of fire, we have loaded our guns. So we're going to treat every gun as if it's loaded. Secondly, what do? We get in front of our target. We aim at our target. So we are going to make sure that we aim only at our target and make sure that we don't cover, if you will, or flag, or there's a whole bunch of different names for it. But we're going to make sure that we don't cover anything that we are not willing to destroy with the muzzle. We're going to pretend that there is a laser that is constantly coming out of the barrel, and whatever that laser touches will be destroyed. So while our gun always has to aim somewhere, we need to make sure that it's aiming in a safe direction and that there is nobody and nothing that we're not willing to destroy on the receiving end of that. So, number 3, keep your finger off the trigger and outside the trigger guard until you have decided to shoot. This is true even when your gun is loaded, you are aiming at your target, and you are at the range. You want to keep your finger off the trigger and outside the trigger guard until you are ready to shoot. And then, that is when we put our finger on the trigger. We go, we shoot, bullet comes out of the gun fires. What happens to the bullet? It goes into our target, and then what? So we need to be sure of our target and what is beyond it. So if it's a piece of paper that we're shooting at, obviously it's going to go through that paper, and it's going to keep going in a straight line until it reacts with something. So we need to make sure of our target and what is beyond. That having been said, in your homes right now, wherever you are at, make sure that you are aiming in a safe direction. I have a wall here. There is a fireplace right there too, so brick, not gonna go through that. And then we have several more walls there. Nobody's behind that. There's nobody in the bathroom or the other bathroom, and then nobody outside, and we've got a whole bunch of stuff. So it would effectively stop a bullet should a live round fire. So that is what you're looking for in your home when you dry practice. So first of all, let's do our clearance checks. If you have your gun and you are ready to dry practice with me, pull your slide back. If you have a revolver, open the cylinder, make sure that you're looking. Drop the magazine, okay? And what I want you to do is make sure your magazine is unloaded, that you have that you can see the follower there. And then we are going to hold it downrange, make sure that we're still aiming in a safe direction. And what you're going to do, I'm going to stand up for this, is you're going to look straight down through the top of the pistol. If you have a pistol, look through the chamber and make sure that you can see, or the port, and make sure that you can see the floor. Then we're gonna tilt it down. We're gonna look into the chamber, make sure that the chamber is clear. Take your pinky finger, stick it in there, and that's also going to tell you if it's dirty or not. But it's going to also tell you if you have any obstructions or anything in there that you need to clear, and make sure that you do not see any brass or steel or whatever it is that you shoot. So this is how you verify that it is clear. Teach your kids that. Okay, safety is number one. We don't want to have to bury anybody. So we're going to do that. That is, call that 1 second of cheap insurance. Okay. Take it whenever you get your gun, every time you pick it up. Take it, lock it back, look at it, put your finger in, done. Okay? 1 second of cheap insurance. Now, right now, clear the area of all live ammunition. Okay? In dry practice, you're going to need to do that. Make sure, I'm going to give you a second. Right now, take time, make sure there is no live ammo anywhere in your vicinity. Okay, so do that right now. Give you a second to do that. make sure that you've cleared it, put it in another room if it's there. Okay, so safety is a big deal. Okay, also there is a reference point. I forgot to mention there's what is called a reference point on each and every gun, usually, that it's something, it's a dimple, it's the takedown pin, it's, you know, whatever, the lever, the takedown lever, it's something. On every gun, there's usually something that you can feel with your finger that I don't even have to look at it. I can even have my eyes closed and I can tell that, just because I can feel that indention or whatever it is, I can feel that reference point. I know my finger is off the trigger, outside the trigger guard, and placed on the frame. Okay, that having been said, thanks guys for joining us. Please like, share this video. Alright, so let's get into this. The other thing, really quickly, make sure that whatever you're aiming at is, I usually tell this in the concealed carry class, make sure it is not a like irreplaceable 5th-generation picture of, you know, grandma and everything else who has passed. So there was a guy that did do that. He used to dry practice every morning before work. He'd get 10 minutes in, you know, dry practicing and everything. And so then he loaded it back up for the day, and he was running a little early and thought, you know, I can get one more round in, and goes and shot grandma right there in the head in a 5th-generation irreplaceable picture. So put a sticky note on the wall, okay? Do something. Sticky notes are great, 3x3 or 3.5, whatever they are. Perfect for this. Okay, gonna give you a great target. So easy to see, sticks anywhere. So, all right, let's get to this. I'm gonna move this chair up. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Okay, so in that, speed will come. So don't worry about doing everything fast and, you know, getting that speed in immediately. Okay, work up to that. Give yourself a starting point. What we're doing is we're baking those fundamentals in. We're baking that muscle memory in. You want to bake it in right, so you don't bake it in wrong. You practice wrong, and then when it comes to actually needing it, whatever, if you happen to get into, God forbid, you happen to get into any kind of a deadly force situation or whatever where you need it, all that adrenaline's flowing, your brain, parts of your brain are going to shut down, and you're going to default back to your training. So if you've trained wrong, you're going to do it wrong then, and that's when it really counts, and that's when it's really going to matter. So make sure, do it slow, do it right, do it smooth. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Speed will come. So we're going to start out with a pistol, and then if we have time, we'll go to a rifle, AR, modern rifle. So we're going to start out with proper grip. We've done our 1 second of cheap insurance, so proper grip kind of explained last night a little bit on that video that it's here. Thanks guys for watching, that's really cool. Please share this video if you would. Alright, so I've got a safe direction out here too, so I'm going to kind of utilize that, but try to keep it aimed down. So with the proper grip, I'm going to use firing hand and support hand. Okay, so firing hand is going to be the one that you actually pull the trigger with. Whether you're right or left-handed, we're going to use firing hand, support hand. Support hand's obviously your non-dominant. So we want high and tight. Drop the slide real quick so you can actually get a good picture. So this beaver tail here, or whatever you want to call it, the back strap, top, whatever you want to call it, there's several people refer to it as different things. Anyway, right up here, the beaver tail here, is you want the web of your hand here to go as high up on the grip as possible, okay? And then tight, I want the middle finger here to be right up against the bottom of the trigger guard there and high on the mag well. Alright, so that's the way I want it. Okay, fingers are wrapped around. I've got my thumb up. So this is considered high and tight. Okay, we got our fingers high up on that trigger guard. Our hand is high up there, and I got a firm grip. Not a death grip, but a firm grip. Secondly, proper grip. Best way to do that is to get for recoil management, is to get the most surface area on the gun as possible. So you've got all this open area here. I have a lot of people that like to T-cup. T-cupping is where we don't really know what to do with our support hand, so we've seen this everywhere. We've seen this in the movies. I'm just gonna put this here, and you hold the bottom of the magazine in like it's gonna fall out or something. And so the problem with this is that you've got all this wiggle up here. So you're gonna shoot a basketball size grouping. The proper grip is going to be, there's all this surface area is exposed. And then you really can't do anything with your support hand here, T-cupping it. So even if it feels weird, if you're used to T-cupping, that's fine. Probably never been taught any different. Try this. At least give this a shot. Give it a try. Give it a solid week. Try it out. It's going to feel weird at first. This is called the thumbs forward grip. I want the palm of your support hand, that the meat of your palm there is going to go right in that groove. Okay, so basically my fingers are going to hit here in the groove of my palm, and then the meat of the palm is going to go right here in this space. Now I've got my firing hand, thumb is up. I have placed my thumb of my support hand firmly on the frame, not on the slide, on the frame, and then I'm going to stack my thumb, the thumb of my firing hand up on top of my support hand. I've still got my finger off the trigger. These fingers of my support hand are going to come and are going to line up there inside the grooves in the spaces in between my other fingers. Okay, now I've got a nice grip here. I've got a push forward on the back of the back strap there, and then I've got a pull on the front of the mag well on my fingers this way, so I'm pushing this way with my firing hand, pulling back, giving that isometric tension there. Now, if you're doing your grip right, your firing hand, your trigger finger should be just about even with your support hand thumb. Okay? So if you're way far forward, don't blow your thumb off there. Pull it back. Plus, if you're forward, you've got a whole lot of space you just opened up. If you're back too far, then you've opened up space here where there is nothing touching, if you can see that. Nothing touching there. So, get that grip right. It's going to feel a little weird at first. Just try it. Just do it. This is going to help you. The reason why is because now there's no right and left. My thumb is making a wall. My support hand thumb is making a wall, and I have now made a vise out of my hands. So muzzle flip is going to be very minimal. Okay, so we've got the proper grip down. And then also, as I go to extension, I'm also putting a little bit of tension with my firing hand, and I'm going to roll it into my body, and my support hand is going to try to roll it out of my body at the same time. This way I get that isometric tension there. My fingers are going to grip, and I have made that vise. Okay, so now let's start. Now that we've got the proper grip, we know how to properly grip it. We're going to start one-handed. Now on this, you can practice concealed carrying, pulling from your holster. The problem with doing this, dry practice on the video, is that whether you have a holster or not, whether it's inside the waistband, outside the waistband, whether you carry on your side, whether you carry up, on the, you get a shoulder, you got your appendix carry, wherever, doesn't matter. There's so many different places and everything. You got a thigh holster or whatever. Everything starts right here, because at the high ready, the high compressed ready. So we're going to practice one hand, because I see a lot of people, when they want to do this, they want to basically flag themselves and put their hand, their support hand, in front of the gun, and basically almost flag themselves and going to shoot their hand. So keep your hand to either your chest or upper stomach, wherever you feel is the most comfortable. When you go to draw and you do that and you present, so everything's going to start right here. So this is where we're going to start, and then we're going to practice as we come out. I've got the gun now muzzle before flesh, so muzzle is in front of me now. There's no flesh in front of that muzzle, so muzzle before flesh. As we come out, now we're going to acquire our grip, and we're going to come out to full extension. So as you dry practice, you can do about anything, no matter, you should practice from wherever you're concealed carrying from. If you're concealed carrying, if you're open carrying, you should still practice from drawing and everything. But as for this, you get good at this, you're going to be good. You can do almost everything from here. Again, so we're going to practice this and then pull. See, keeping my finger off the trigger, outside the trigger guard. Still going to practice this. You practice this, then do it slow. Okay, I still got making sure that my gun's out here, and then I'm going to join. And then every single time, what you're doing is you're acquiring your sight alignment. That's what we're going to go to next. Okay, so if you have an external safety, you're going to need to practice taking that off. This gun here, this is the Taurus G3, it does have an external safety. So I'm going to have to, as I draw, practice taking that off. Okay, as I get my grip, I've got my safety on. As I get my grip and I put my thumb down to stack my thumb, that's where it takes that safety off. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Practice that. If you haven't practiced it, practice it. You don't want to end up taking the safety off for the rest of your life, okay? Or racking the slide. If you do carry, conceal carry, I suggest, it's just my personal preference, keep one in the chamber when you are conceal carrying, when you are doing, after your dry practice is over, return your gun to its current condition, or its condition, whether you're going to put the flag back in it and go put it up in the safe, or you're going to carry it. If it is your carry gun or duty gun or whatever, make sure, keep one in the chamber. That's like saying that you can put your seatbelt on before you crash, so that you have time to put your seatbelt on before you crash, and you'll have time to rack the slide, and that'll warn everybody. You don't always have time for that. There are some that have been very fortunate to have that time. Others are not. So you don't want to rack the slide for the rest of your life, and you don't want to take the safety off for the rest of your life. So that's just a suggestion. It's the way I kind of view that personally. As long as there's nothing touching that trigger, then it's not going to go off. So back to... Alright, already did that. Bringing the sights to your eyes, not your eyes to the sights. I do see some people, when they do that, they put their head down. They're bringing their head to the gun instead of bringing the gun to their eyes. Bringing their sights to their eyes. Okay? You practice that sight acquisition, getting it in the same place every time, and you don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to worry about your sights being perfect in the dark. I talked a little bit about that last night. At close encounter distances, at violent encounter distances, I should say, 90% of all violent encounters fall between 9 and 15 feet. So, room distance, okay? So really, 9 to 15 feet, 3 to 5 yards. That is usually where 90% of the violent encounters fall. So really, we don't have to worry about getting that perfect sight alignment. But if we practice getting that perfect sight alignment now in dry practice, then when we go and you practice that every time, even in live fire, when you go out to the range, you practice that sight acquisition, then you don't have to worry about seeing your sights really. To a point. You're trying to get that flash sight picture, but if you can't see your sights, it's not like you're in total desperation, okay? So, we're going to start now with the two-handed, getting up here, and just practice from right here, coming up and bringing those sights into perfect alignment up to your eyes. So start here and get that perfect sight alignment. Okay? Do that a few times. Do it slow because you want to get it right. Okay? Get that right. And you get that perfect sight alignment. Keep doing that. Okay? You can get faster at it and, do it 20 or 30 times slow, and that'll start baking that muscle memory in. And then you can start speeding up a little bit. And then do it 20 or 30 times and speed up a little. 20 or 30 times and speed up a little. And then the goal here, remember that you control the gun does not control you. So bring those sights to your eyes, not your eyes to the sights. Consistency is the main goal here. We have to be consistently good at getting everything on target, getting everything right, getting our sight alignment right. You do that consistently, you do it good when you're out at the range, live firing, then get good at where you're at. Don't worry about your distance. Start close. Get good close. Get to where you're hitting 90% close at a pretty decent speed. And then you can either speed up at that distance and keep your groupings small, and then or step back and do it again. But try to keep the same speed. Try to keep the consistently. Get good at that until, and then speed up until you start missing, and that's where you want to focus. T-Rex Arms pointed that out. Lucas did. That you want to go till you miss. You want to miss because if you're hitting consistently every time, then you're never going to get any better than you are. So go until you miss, and then work on that, and then step it up till you're hitting about 90% there. The trigger press. Now, the reason why I have this gun here is because, and again, safety check, is because this gun acts like a double action. The trigger will reset. If you don't have a trigger that resets and you gotta rack the slide every time, like your Glocks or any of that to reset that trigger, every time that you trip it, there are different products that you can get, and I can talk to you. Just hit me up later and we'll talk about that then. But the reason why I have the G3 here is because that trigger will reset. Now, it is long. Double actions, all of your double actions will reset on their own. They're double action only. They will reset on their own. But the problem is that you got to go all the way back out. So just have that. But your trigger press, it should be a trigger press. We're not yanking the trigger, okay? We're going to go all the way back. You should feel a wall, and then a click, okay? You want it to be a surprise break, but you don't want it to surprise you. You want to know when it goes off or when it's going to go off instead of guessing where it goes off. You still want it to surprise you a little bit so you don't anticipate it and move, but you also want to know where it's at. Know where your brake is at. So proper finger placement is where a lot of this is going to come in at. So if you're right-handed, your hits are going to appear on the target low and left. Most of the time, it's going to be to the left if you're right-handed. That is normally because you have too little trigger finger and you're actually pressing the gun. I'll show you this way. You're actually going to be pressing the gun over to the left. If you're left-handed, usually if you have too little trigger finger, at the very last second, you're actually going to be pressing that over to the right. So, proper finger placement. You should have the pad of your finger, the middle of your fingerprint there, should be in the middle of the trigger. So if you're right-handed and you're hitting right, you've got too much trigger finger, and then that's where my finger is going to stick all the way out here, and I'm actually pulling it over to the right. Okay, same thing. If you're left-handed and it's pulling to the left, your hits on target are to the left, then you've got too much trigger finger. So adjust your finger that way. You want to pull that straight back to the rear. That is why Mossberg and SIG and a whole bunch of others, they've came up with this flat trigger. The flat trigger is nice because the flat trigger will actually help keep your finger coming straight back to the rear. You'll be able to feel that. So flat triggers are actually really nice, and they do help that way. So the trigger press, it should be like drawing a line in the sand. You want it straight back. Okay? Straight back to the rear until it goes off. And then find your reset. Don't take your finger all the way back off, because then you, especially during follow-up shots or whatever, you may have to fire 2 rounds. So if you practice taking 1 round and then taking your finger and putting it back up on your reference point, what are you going to do when you get into a situation? You're going to fire 1 round and put your finger back up on the trigger point, or on the reference point. So what we want to practice is pressing that to the rear, hold it just for a quarter of a second, and then coming back out, and you should feel that reset without taking your finger all the way off the trigger. Thanks, guys, for joining us. I see we had a few more. Please share this video, and don't forget to watch the replay. We're almost done here. So that is the pistol dry fire practice that we're going to practice this time. Okay? Again, lock it back open. If you have your flags are great. I'm going to flag this back up. That way we know that trigger is not going to go off, and it is out of battery, so it's safe. That, and we have a good visual on that. Bright orange, we can see it. Got a good visual on that. So, now let's see. What do we have? 20 minutes-ish. Okay. Does anybody have any questions over any of that? I know it's kind of a lot real quick. You can watch the replay as many times as you want. Please don't forget to share it. We can go over some rifle drills real quick. Then we got a few minutes. So, honestly, I kind of figured there'd be more people on this, but, maybe it'll grow. So, some of these dry practice drills, if you have any questions, let me know. Anything that you see that's that you hear differently or whatever, give me a shout. Let me know. Talk to me. So, that having been said, just want to make sure to give a quick second here before we go on. Make sure, do we have any questions about any of that, any of the dry practice drills or anything that way? Does it make sense to you? Let me know if it helps. So that's going to, doing all that is going to take your time down, your response time down, and making sure that you get good on target, even if you can't see your sights in the dark, bump in the night, whatever, and you're not going to be able to, like last night, I had that EC9S. It's just got totally black sights, so you can't see anything. There's no holes drilled, there's no 3 dots, there's no nothing. It's just literally they've just got slants molded, milled into the gun, and yeah, it's they just put those slants on the sights there to try to reflect the light back into your eyes so they shine a little bit. Okay, anyway, I don't seem to have any questions here, so let's go to rifle. I'm going to practice with an AR-15. This is a Diamondback AR-15. It's the DB MZB. On here, this one has been a really good rifle. Love these. Diamondback, check them out, talk to me. Don't know if they're back in stock right now. Probably doubt it. They're a company out of Florida. They do everything completely American made. They use American steel and everything that way. They make about everything in-house now. Before they were still getting their some of their, like their handles or grips and stuff, and their polymer, all their polymer stuff, their stocks were coming from like American Tactical or another American-made company. They were sticking 100% American-made, so really love them. Anyway, get with me on that. So here I just have a reflex sight. Take the deal off. I'm not actually going to light it up, but just for that. And then we got our flag in here, so I'm going to go ahead and take our flag out. May have to just push it through. All right. So, anyway, rifle drills. I did a little bit last night, just kind of showed you a sneak peek. Again, I don't usually have mine all the way out. I have mine up on about the 5th one or so. Reason for that being, why this is adjustable and it's not always all the way out is, you really need to adjust this to your shoulder height, your stature. You know, I'm a smaller guy, so I find having it all the way out puts it up on here too much. So when I'm relaxed, I want it to be right at the pocket already. So when I'm carrying this, whether I've got a sling on or not, I want it to be right there at the pocket. And then when I go to do my up drills that we're going to do here in just a minute, it's already right there, and everything comes in, and my length of pull is right where I want it to be. So covered shoulder placement. Everything else is pretty well the same. This time we're going to focus on up drills. So we're going to take at the same time, I'm going to pull the safety off. Okay. This one's quiet. But safety on. Start with safety on because safety should be on. Again, safety is just a mechanical device that can fail, so don't rely on it. But safeties are great. You still have to practice taking them off. So again, don't forget that. So shoulder placement, I've got good shoulder placement. There happens to be something come up, and I'm right there. So I get on target. Basically what I'm wanting to do is kind of, instead of trying to get, and get this all situated and stuff, and get down and get just right, I want it to already be there. So what I'm doing is I'm basically taking my support hand and I'm pushing my support hand right to my target. So I don't have to worry about trying to get all this going exactly where I want it to be. It's just right there. And so I'm able to engage my target and take the safety off, and to be able to have as my safety comes off, my trigger finger is going to come down to where I need it to be, especially in that kind of a situation. Now, just training with your finger straight off the trigger and getting your sight alignment there and getting everything perfect is going to help. Okay, so you don't have to have your finger on the trigger. Just having, see, that time was a little off. But having everything right there, practicing that is going to help, and then getting cheek on the rest there is going to, having my cheek on the gun is going to help, because basically what you're doing is I've got this in my pocket here, pocket of my shoulder. I am still pressing back. Now, whether you do whatever hold you do, that's a whole different video. I'll go over different holds and stuff later, whether it's, you know, traditional C-clamp or, you know, bagwell, whatever. Either way, or if you've got a foregrip on there, like a Magpul angled foregrip, or, you know, the standard other foregrip, 90 degree. That's totally up to you. Just something to place on there. Whether you got anything on yours, this is just totally stock, whatever. Other than the reflex sight there. So basically, safety drills, practice taking them off, and then you also need to practice once everything is done and your threat is you've made sure, and then put the safety back on. Don't forget to practice putting the safety back on, because you don't want to have that way. And then repeat your sight acquisition and your trigger drills and everything that way. So, do we have any questions on any of that? So, again, it's not necessarily, you know, you practice whatever you practice, just make sure that you do it slow at first. So I practiced this and I practiced that fast, but really, if you practice this, practice getting it into that pocket and getting your head into position, getting your safety off, and then putting your safety back on. Practice that, okay? Practice all that slowly and get it right, and then as you keep doing that more and more and more, your speed will come. Okay, so are there any questions? I'm going to go ahead and put the flag back in here. Okay, flag that back up, and take and put the deal back on that one. Okay, are there any questions to any of that? Was that helpful? Let me know. Give me some comments, give me some feedback. Whether this is something that you'd like to see more of, or if this helped you at all, let me know. Talk to me. So we're all kind of here as a community. We got people watching live. That's the reason why we are live, so we can answer questions and we can communicate, talk to each other. So let me know if this is helpful, if you learned something. Trying to think of anything else. I think that's about it. So, yeah, just trying to think. Alrighty. Well, any suggestion on 223 556 ammo for home defense? That is a good question, NG. Home defense. Okay, well, there are, again, tons of rounds. Of course, you want hollow point. Hollow points are designed to stop inside the body without over penetrating that way or having too much. They are, because 223 and 556 is a much smaller round, it's still a 22, but it's, because of the case volume, it is moving much, much, much faster, especially in a carbine or something that way, or you got a 20-inch barrel. Carbine's about a 16-inch barrel. The full-size barrel is about 20 inches on like the M16 or whatever, so it's moving at 3,000 feet per second. So with that, it's still moving at like 2,800 feet per second out of a carbine, out of a 16-inch barrel, so you don't want to over-penetrate. Now, bullets are also designed to go through walls and that kind of stuff and still get that lethal penetration. As for like 2x4s and stuff, that's kind of a different story, but home defense ammo, I would still go with, I would say carry about the heaviest load that you can, but it's also going to depend on your space. If you're living in a 2-bedroom apartment, and there are other apartments there, you're going to have to take that into consideration. You're going to want something lighter so you don't over penetrate and go into other walls, especially if you miss. You don't want to kill your neighbors. You're trying to stop the threat that is in your apartment, not the one 3 apartments down. So for home defense, 7.5 on 223 556 be okay. Yeah, again, 7.5 inch barrel on an AR, you are still moving at about 1,500 feet per second, depending on the load and everything. Yeah, again, it's going to depend on your space, but 1,400, 1,500 feet per second is definitely much better for close quarters than without over penetrating than say 3,000 feet per second. I would still say, yeah, it's going to be okay. Usually 223 and 556, because of the bullet design and everything, is going to change everything too. But usually bullet design for 223 556 is more of a defense round than, say, a 22. Excuse me, mustache is itching. Yeah, I would say you're probably still going to be okay with that. I would carry a heavier grain because you are losing in feet per second. You can still make that up with a little heavier grain and go with 75 grain or something. But again, it's going to depend on your situation. If you're in a house versus if you're in an apartment or something like that, just throwing that out there for everybody, is you're going to have to watch your barriers and stuff. The bullets are designed to go through barriers and still get some penetration. So interior walls and stuff. Exterior walls, you're still going to have, you're going to have that other layer of siding after that and all that. Usually there's plywood and stuff there too, but you've also got some insulation. So all that, and the problem with shooting with hollow points has been for a long time is that depending on the bullet that you're shooting, a lot of times they will get plugged with material, especially if they're trying to go through drywall or something. They will be plugged with material, and then they act like a full metal jacket because they don't expand. So trying to get so that they want to just keep going, and they'll punch further than they will because they're not dumping their energy like they are designed to. So with 223 and 556, usually that hole's pretty small on there, but they're designed to open up pretty good. So again, take into consideration, but yeah, I would say you're still going to be all right with that. Any other questions or anything that way? That's really good. I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you, Angie. Any other questions at all? Let me know. Give it a minute there. So hopefully this helped out. I know we're kind of all stuck at home and stuck in quarantine at least as much as possible. Anyway, but hopefully that information helped you out. Don't forget to like and share the page. Go to our website and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, both on the Facebook, and follow us on Facebook. Make sure you hit the C first, ring the bell. Same thing, ring the bell on YouTube, and so you don't miss out on anything. That way, I will probably upload this one to YouTube there, just so we have some content there. But I'm going to try to work on a little bit more content, start getting more stuff out. As I do get back to work, to another job, then I'm going to try to keep it up there. They may get a little bit shorter, but I'm going to try to keep the content going and stuff. Let me know if there's something else that you want to see, something else that you're interested in, whatever, what you want to see next. Drop me a line. So let me know. Yes, just make sure you keep it consistent. Train hard. Train 10-15 minutes a day is all it's going to take, and you'll get better and better and better. However much time that you put into it, it is a perishable skill, so however much time you put into it is how much you're actually going to get out of it. So alright, well, it doesn't seem that we have any other questions or anything, so I'm going to go ahead and end this. Don't forget to rewatch it if you need to. So, and don't forget to share. So, anyway, until then, stay safe, stay awesome. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time. Yep.